You see her on social media. There's a triumphant post from a mountaintop, a smiling selfie with new friends at brunch, a caption that reads, "Number, living my best life." She's traveling, she's glowing, she looks happier, freer than she ever did with you. And a part of you, the part that's still nursing the wounds of the separation, can't help but think, she won. She got the freedom she said she wanted. She got a new start. She's thriving, and you're left picking up the pieces. You tell yourself she's moved on without a second thought, that the past is a closed book she'll never open again. But what if that's not the real story? What if behind the curated photos and the carefully crafted narrative of post-divorce bliss, there's a reality that's far more complicated? What if the life she's actually living is a silent struggle she would never dare post about? The truth is, the aftermath of a divorce for a woman is rarely the simple victory lap it appears to be. Female psychology is way more complex than that. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 most common and surprising transformations women actually experience after the papers are signed. This isn't about blame or resentment. It's about understanding the profound, often hidden, consequences of a decision that shatters a shared world. It's about seeing the whole picture, not just the highlight reel. And what you're about to hear might just change how you see her life after you. You might think she's happier than ever, but the reality of her post-divorce life is probably far more complicated. The first illusion we need to shatter is the one that seems most obvious, the idea of instant, unending freedom. She's finally untethered, liberated from the arguments, the compromises, the weight of a dying relationship. This is her moment, right? Her honeymoon with herself. But then, the initial excitement starts to fade. And what replaces it is the first shocking change. The illusion is intoxicating. For the first few weeks, maybe even months, she's running on pure adrenaline. The silence in the house isn't empty, it's peaceful. The ability to make every single decision, what to eat, what to watch, where to go on a Saturday, feels like a superpower. This is often called the honeymoon with herself, a term describing that initial euphoric rush of independence. She's rediscovering old hobbies, reconnecting with friends, and proving to herself and the world that she doesn't just survive without you, she thrives. This phase isn't a lie, it's a very real and very necessary psychological buffer. It's the emotional equivalent of shock, the first stage in the grieving process. It's a shield against the overwhelming pain and the sheer logistical nightmare that divorce truly is. It can also be a performance, not just for you or her Instagram followers, but for herself. She's trying to convince herself that she made the right choice, that the immense pain of tearing a family apart was worth it. But the crash is almost inevitable. Adrenaline is a finite resource, and when it runs out, the silence in the house is no longer peaceful, it's crushingly empty. The freedom to make every decision becomes the terrifying burden of being responsible for times everything asterisk. The leaky faucet, the strange noise in the car, the child who wakes up with a fever in the middle of the night, it's all on her. There's no one to turn to for a second opinion, no one to share the load, no one to just be there. This is when the second stage of grief can kick in with a vengeance. Anger. Anger at you, for sure, but also a confusing and powerful anger at herself and her circumstances. The freedom she craved now feels like a cage of isolation. Her brain is still wired for a partnership that no longer exists. She'll catch herself wanting to share a piece of news, ask a question, or even start an argument, only to be met with silence. The very structure of her life, a structure that existed for years, flawed as it may have been, has been vaporized. The daily check-ins, the shared meals, the simple rhythm of another person's presence, it's all gone. And in its place is a void. This isn't just about missing you as a person. It's about mourning the loss of a fundamental part of her identity. She was a wife. She was part of a couple. Now, she has to figure out who she is without that label, a task that is far more terrifying than she ever imagined. The initial euphoria of freedom often gives way to a profound and disorienting loneliness, a state that studies have shown to be a major psychological effect of divorce on women. She feels unmoored, and this emotional turmoil is only the beginning. But the emotional toll is just the start. The next shocking change hits her where it often hurts most, her wallet. The illusion she projects, and the one you might believe, is one of financial stability. She fought for the house, she's getting child support, maybe alimony. Her social media might show her redecorating or enjoying dinners out with friends. From the outside, it looks like she's landed on her feet. She seems secure, But this might be the cruelest illusion of all. The shocking reality is that for many women, divorce is a massive financial shock. The numbers are sobering. While some older data suggested a 41% income drop, more recent studies show that a woman's household income falls by an average of 20% to 33% after a divorce. For men, the drop is typically about half that. Suddenly, that house she fought to keep can become an anchor dragging her under. She's now solely responsible for the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and every single repair. When the water heater bursts, there's no second income to fall back on. It's her problem alone. This is a primary reason why, despite women owning homes, divorce remains a significant risk factor for housing insecurity. And the child support? It's a myth that it's a windfall. In reality, it rarely covers the full cost of raising children. It's meant for basics, not for braces, summer camps, or the 100 other expenses that constantly pop up. Worse still, many divorced mothers don't receive the full payment they are owed, leaving them to cover the gap. This financial pressure is compounded by another harsh reality. Her earning potential was often compromised by the marriage itself. Many women take time off, switch to part-time work, or choose less demanding career paths to be the primary caregivers. When divorce happens, they're forced to ramp up their careers but are often years behind their male counterparts. It's a cruel irony. The sacrifices she made for the family are what now penalize her financially. This isn't just a temporary setback. It has serious long-term consequences. Women's retirement savings are often hit hard by divorce. The comfortable retirement she once envisioned can be replaced by the prospect of working well into her golden years. This financial strain is real. Studies show that recently divorced women are significantly more likely to face poverty. The stress is relentless. Every grocery bill, every school expense is a potential crisis. She's not living her best life. She's in survival mode. As this new financial reality sets in, another foundation begins to crumble, one she never expected to lose. Her social circle. The illusion is one of overwhelming support. During the separation, her friends rallied. They brought wine, listened to her vent for hours, and assured her she was doing the right thing. They were team her. Now that she's free, the pictures show girls' nights and a new community lifting her up. She seems more popular than ever. The shocking reality is that the social life of a newly divorced woman is often a surprising landscape of shifting friendships and awkward encounters. The support she received in the heat of battle was often situational, driven by the drama. Once the divorce is finalized, the drama subsides, and sometimes so does the support. The first to often disappear are the couple friends. Suddenly, she can become a social liability. Inviting her to a dinner party disrupts the comfortable symmetry of paired-up guests. The conversations turn awkward. Do they ask about you? Avoid the topic? For many couples, it's simply easier to drop her from the invite list. Her divorce can make other married people confront the fragility of their own relationship, so they may unconsciously stick closer to other married couples. She is no longer one half of a familiar pair. She is a single entity, and that can make people uncomfortable. The friendships she thought were her own, she may discover, were actually contingent on her marriage. Even if friends try to remain neutral, it's rarely easy. They can feel forced to choose a side and may simply retreat from both of you to avoid the conflict. This social ghosting can extend beyond friends to family. While her family may offer support, it can sometimes come with judgment or unsolicited advice that leaves her feeling more isolated than ever. She might feel a stigma, a sense of failure that, whether real or perceived, causes her to withdraw. The loneliness that sets in is profound. It's not just the absence of a romantic partner, it's the collapse of an entire social ecosystem. The shared history and inside jokes are gone. She has to start over, but building genuine friendships as an adult, especially as a single mother with limited time and money, is incredibly difficult. This social isolation is a well-documented effect of divorce, leading to increased feelings of unhappiness and lower self-esteem. She might put on a brave face for that one girl's night photo, but the reality is many of her nights are spent alone. This toxic combination of emotional turmoil, financial pressure, and social isolation leads directly to the fourth, and perhaps most taboo, change: a profound re-evaluation of the decision itself. The illusion is one of unwavering certainty. She wanted the divorce. She may have been the one to initiate it, which is the case in nearly 70% of divorces. She told everyone she was done and that leaving was the only solution. Her narrative is one of escape and liberation. regret isn't part of the story. But the shocking reality is that regret is an incredibly common and powerful emotion for women after a divorce. It often creeps in slowly, then all at once. Studies have found that about a third of all divorced people experience regret over their decision. This isn't just a fleeting what if, it's a deep re-examination of her entire life, rooted in two devastating realities she may not have fully anticipated. The first driver of regret is often the impact on the children. In the haze of her own marital unhappiness, she may have believed the kids would be better off away from the conflict. While that may be true in cases of high conflict or abuse, the day-to-day reality for the children is often tough. She now witnesses firsthand their struggles with split holidays, the constant back and forth, and the simple, heartbreaking sadness of their family being broken. Seeing this pain in her children, and knowing her decision contributed to it, can unleash a tidal wave of guilt. The second source of regret is the collision with the harsh realities we've already discussed. She looks at her depleted bank account, the mounting bills, and the stress of being the sole provider and caregiver, and she starts to do the math. She asks herself the terrifying question: was the unhappiness times in times the marriage worse than times this asterisk? She might have fantasized about a life free from arguments, but she never fantasized about a life where she had to choose between paying the electric bill and signing her kid up for soccer. The decline in her standard of living is a constant, humbling reminder of what she lost. It's important to understand what this regret truly means. It's not always a sign that she wants times you times back. More often, she regrets the loss of the family unit. She regrets the loss of stability, of shared history, of the future she once envisioned. She may realize she had a grass is greener syndrome, imagining a post-divorce life that was a fantasy. Divorce didn't magically solve her problems. It just swapped one set of problems for a new, often scarier set. This is the secret she will almost never admit. The solution she fought so hard for has created a world of pain she never saw coming. And this leads to the final, and perhaps most ironic, shocking change. The search for a replacement and the grim discovery she makes along the way. The ultimate illusion is the promise of a better love. She's free, she's single, she's ready to mingle. She's going to find a man who truly gets her, who communicates, who is romantic, everything she felt you weren't. The dating apps seem like a glittering buffet of exciting new possibilities. It's just a matter of time before she finds her happily ever after, version 2. The shocking, brutal reality is that the dating world for a divorced woman in her 30 seconds, 40 seconds, or 50 seconds, especially with kids, is less like a buffet and more like a tough landscape to navigate. It's an unforgiving, emotionally taxing, and often demoralizing place. First, she is no longer the 5-year-old you married. She is competing in a marketplace that relentlessly prioritizes youth. The men in her age range are often seeking younger women without what they perceive as baggage, namely children and an ex-husband. She quickly learns that being a single mother, while a source of pride for her, can be a deal-breaker for many potential partners. The men she does match with can often fall into disappointing categories. There are the recently divorced guys who aren't ready for anything serious. There are the serial daters who have been single for years for a reason. There are men who are dishonest about their intentions or marital status. The process, the endless swiping, the hollow conversations, the ghosting, the series of disappointing first dates is emotionally exhausting. The hope she started with is quickly eroded and replaced by cynicism and fatigue. But here is the most profound and ironic shock of all. As she navigates this dating scene, she starts to compare every man she meets to times you asterisk. Not the man she divorced, but the ghost of the man she married. The man who was her partner. The man who co-parented with her, who had a shared history that spanned a decade or more, who knew her quirks and how she took her coffee. She discovers that the qualities she took for granted in her marriage, stability, reliability, a genuine partnership, the comfort of knowing someone has your back, are exceptionally rare. That new man who seems so charming, he disappears for 3 days. The one who's so adventurous, he has no interest in the responsibilities of a ready-made family. She begins to realize that the grass wasn't greener. It was just a different field, with its own set of thistles and rocks. She is haunted by the good parts of the life she chose to leave, making it nearly impossible to build something new. The man she thought she was desperate to escape has become the yardstick by which all other men are measured, and they often fall short. She didn't just leave a husband, she left a partner. And she is now discovering, date after disappointing date, that such a thing is almost impossible to replace. So, we come back to that image of her on social media, smiling on the mountaintop. Behind that smile might be the crash of the freedom fallacy, the crisis of a financial freefall, the pain of social ghosting, the silent regret for a broken family, and the exhausting reality of the dating desert. The post-divorce life of your ex-wife is almost certainly not the simple, triumphant narrative she portrays. It's a complex, often painful journey, but this isn't about winning or losing. A divorce is a shared failure, a tragedy that refracts in different ways for the two people at its center. Understanding this hidden reality isn't about gloating or taking pleasure in her struggle. It's about finding peace for yourself. It's about letting go of the anger and the story you've been telling yourself that she got everything she wanted. By understanding the true depth of her struggle, you can begin to see that the end of your marriage was a profound loss for both of you. And in that shared understanding, you can finally release the need for blame, stop replaying the what-ifs, and focus on the only thing you can control, your own healing and your own path forward. If this video resonated with you or offered a new perspective on your own experience, hit that like button. For more deep dives into the psychology of relationships and navigating life after divorce, make sure you subscribe. Most importantly, I want this to be a conversation. The comments section is a space for you. Share your stories. Did you witness these changes in your own situation? What was the most shocking part of the post-divorce journey for you or your ex? Your experience and your insight could be the one thing someone else going through this right now needs to hear. Thanks for watching.